while I was in my 8th grade, that must be in, let's say, 2011 or so, I started a tutoring agency. Third year में जब हमने scale किया तो we were around 60 of us. I was earning fairly 65,000 rupees at that point of time in a month. And then I shut it down because I wanted to do something at scale. So it has to be intrapreneurship before entrepreneurship. One thing that was going on in my mind was obviously that I should be building something at scale that people would remember me for. So common school, I figured out that यार education में ना कुछ large scale पे solve करने की ज़रूरत है. Soft skill is something that needed to be solved. Correct? क्योंकि यही नहीं पढ़ाया जा रहा है, बस यही नहीं सिखाया जा रहा है. Now when you go for the interview practice level, our platform will ask you few of the questions. कि किस चीज़ का interview है, कौन सी company में, then it will ask you for the persona. And then you set up this scenario by uploading your job description and resume, मतलब उसका context. And then this simulates about 90% realism for your conversation. An avatar on your screen, you talk to that avatar, and then once you end the conversation, we give you a self-coaching report on around 84 different parameters of your soft skills. There was an investor जिसने मुझे 8 करोड़ का offer दिया
for your common school.
For common school.
When was this?
For putting in 8 crore rupees term sheet भी आ गई.
जानना चाहते हैं कि आप अपना स्टार्टअप कैसे लॉन्च कर सकते हैं? ये भी जानना चाहते हैं कि किस तरीके की मिस्टेक्स स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स को नहीं करनी चाहिए? अगर इन सवालों के जवाब जानना चाहते हो तो ये एपिसोड आप जरूर अंत तक देखिएगा, क्योंकि आज के हमारे गेस्ट हैं कृष्णकांत. कृष्णकांत कॉमन स्कूल नाम के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के फाउंडर हैं और इसके अलावा उन्होंने लगभग 6-7 साल स्टार्टअप्स को नर्चर करने का काम किया है. तो उनसे हम आज जानेंगे ना सिर्फ किस तरीके से स्टार्टअप शुरू करते हैं, उनके अपने स्टार्टअप के बारे में और उनकी अपनी यात्रा के बारे में. We will also learn about what are the things that he learned when he was nurturing startups and what he can share with all of us. So let's welcome Krishnkant. So first of all, let's talk about why the name Common School.
So common school, very interesting question. While we started, right? So I'll probably come a step back. That would actually answer this.
Okay.
While I joined Lemon Ideas, I got connected with an alternative education alliance called Multiversity. So this is the alliance of parents across India that are homeschooling and unschooling their kids. So they say कि यार स्कूल में जाके बच्चे की creativity खत्म हो जाती है, right? And the education system we are kind of imposing on them, so they are homeschooling their kids. And these are about, I think, 10,000 parents across the country like these, right? And there are about 55 alternative learning spaces across the India. So even if you go to their website, you would read it that Sonam Vanshuk from Himalayan Institute of Alternative Learning, जिनके ऊपर 3 Idiots movie बनी है, to Auroville in Pondicherry. These are these alternative learning spaces, and Lemon School of Entrepreneurship is one of it. तो ये learning spaces किसी entity से affiliated नहीं है. These are these folks. So while I got connected with these folks and keeping my interest in education previously, I figured out that यार education में ना कुछ large scale पे solve करने की ज़रूरत है. I kind of realized that there is something big that needed to be solved in education. और फिर जो मेरे instances थे, like I used to travel a lot. So Mumbai हुआ, नासिक हुआ, औरंगाबाद हुआ, North में cities हुई. I must have traveled around 50-55 cities while being at Lemon Ideas, all the tier 2, tier 3 places, right, and all of it. So, I mean, while I've been there, I realized that communication is something and soft skill is something that needed to be solved. करेक्ट, क्योंकि यही नहीं पढ़ाया जा रहा है, बस यही नहीं सिखाया जा रहा है कि रिप्रेजेंटेबल कैसे बनना है, राइट? किसी ने हमको कुछ बोल दिया तो उसको कंसीव कैसे करना है, परसीव भी कैसे करना है, उसके बारे में सोचना कैसे है, बुरा कैसे नहीं मानना है, राइट? नाउ हाउ डू वी स्पीक टू समवन कि उसको बुरा ना लग जाए, एंड ऑल ऑफ इट. सो दीज आर स्मॉल थिंग्स व्हिच वी कॉल सॉफ्ट स्किल्स which nobody was actually teaching. So I thought of that, okay, let me start fixing this for common people in India, and that's what Common School started, because we wanted to build for common people in India. And that is how we named it as Common School.
Tell us a little bit about your background, from where you come, which city.
So I come from Gwalior, that's a city in Madhya Pradesh. I've actually started my career through incubation. So I was running an incubation center, more of an accelerator for startups. I went there as a student, and then eventually, after doing the projects for them, I had a chance to be the CEO for one of their verticals.
Hmm.
And while I was growing up in Gwalior, I always had this plan in mind that I'll do BBA from US and then MBA from US, and then I'll start my own business in US. Then I realized that okay, this BBA will actually cost me about 2.5 to 3 crore rupees over a period of, let's say 3 4 years, and then we realized that okay, we didn't have that much of money to be paid off, right? So better we kind of have an alternative plan. So I thought that okay, what do I need to do? I was to go there to do BBA, then MBA, then to start my business, right? So why can't I find a way which can help me starting my own business right away? So that's what I landed Lemon School of Entrepreneurship, and that's how I got admitted there. And entire thing that had happened in my life happened from there itself, because Lemon School of Entrepreneurship has contributed a lot to my life, be it the network, be it the kind of skill sets that I've developed, or be it the kind of psychology that I have had, or I've worked on to, or they have helped me developing, for starting this company. And I was very much fascinated with my father. My father used to work as a distributorship of Hindustan Unilever Limited in Gwalior. So he was a salesman doing all this, work for this distributor here in Gwalior. So I have been hearing all of these terms like SKUs, right? Goods sold, I mean MRPs, margins, super stockist, SS, and all of it. I was very much fascinated with it, and that's the moment I thought that okay, I'll also start my own business someday, and I'll probably build something meaningful for all of us. That was my ignition point actually.
So what's the story with why this fascination? From where that fascination was coming?
I think that
मतलब
was
क्या
because
एक्साइट करता था आपको जब आप ये सब देखते थे तो?
correct. So I think that was the process of HUL. Reason being, my father didn't know English, so I used to write all emails for him. तो उनके जो ईमेल्स होते थे वो सारे मैं ही लिखता था बैठ के, एंड जो फाइल्स बनाना होता था, जो प्रोसेसेस होते थे, माय फादर वाज ऑन द फील्ड ऑलवेज, सो आई यूज्ड टू टेक अबाउट हाफ एन आवर ऑन एन आवर ऑफ टाइम इन द इवनिंग टाइम, एंड आई यूज्ड टू डू ऑल ऑफ दीज वर्क फॉर हिम. सो दैट ignited me, यार ये तो काफ़ी अच्छा है, इट इज़ वेरी प्रोफेशनल.
एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जो है वो पहले से मतलब कब कब आपके जहन में पहली बार आया कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की तरफ जाना चाहिए?
I think that was seventh or eighth grade. I used to participate in a lot of innovation and entrepreneurship related groups online. I became the part of these communities. So that was, I guess, 20, 2010, 2011 sort of ish.
Hmm.
I got exposed to a lot of these successful founders case studies, right? That okay, he had built this much of an empire, right? इतने करोड़ का empire बनाया, उतने
तो 6th 7th ग्रेड में आप ये केस केस
ये
स्टडीज
केस स्टडीज पढ़ते थे, उससे फैसिनेट होते थे.
केस स्टडीज पढ़ते थे?
Started, yes, so I became the part of this group on
हाँ.
Facebook, right? And then I guess in 20 while I was in my 8th grade, that
हम्म.
must be in, let's say, 2011 or so, I started a tutoring agency. So
हाँ.
I used to go and tutor smaller kids, right? तो फिर मेरे को समझ में आया कि यार tutors की तो requirement काफ़ी है, right? So we like I started an agency called P Tutors, which was Prolific Tutors. Our job is to provide tutors across the city, right? So we used to have
और
these posters.
ये किस टाइम पर कर रहे थे? व्हाट वाज द
While I was in 8th grade, year
8th
20,
ग्रेड में आपने ये शुरू कर दिया था?
शुरू कर दिया था.
So this was like your first business?
Close to my first business, yes. So I started that, and we were earning pretty decent, क्योंकि हमारा मॉडल ये था. आई रियलाइज कि यार जब भी कोई ट्यूटर घर जाता है, और जो अभी के एजेंसीज चलते हैं, दे टेक कट ऑन एवरी मंथ,
हम्म.
राइट? और वहाँ पे शॉर्ट सर्किट के चांसेस बहुत हाई हैं, बिकॉज एज अ ट्यूटर आई एम गोइंग टू मीट दैट फैमिली अगेन अगेन. So
हम्म.
we actually had this model that you give us 70% of your first month earning,
हम्म.
and 10% in the next month, 10% in the third month, and then nothing,
ओके.
right? So we used to, so I calculated कि यार हम ले भी रहे हैं तो कितना ले रहे हैं पूरी साल में, उतना पहले 3 महीनों में ले लेते हैं, and then we
हम्म.
are done. So let the tutor also be happy कि नहीं यार ये लोग मुझसे कुछ ले नहीं रहे हैं. मुझे
हम्म.
जब इन्होंने स्टार्टिंग में ही बच्चा दिया था, तभी
हम्म.
they are charging me.
तो इस
I
बिजनेस में कितने कितने ट्यूटर्स को आपने अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे ले आए थे?
close to, so I did this business for about 3 years of time, 3 साल चलाया. थर्ड ईयर में जब हमने स्केल किया तो वी वर अराउंड 60 of us. तो अच्छा पैसा बन जाता था, मतलब इफ आई ऑन बोर्ड अ ट्यूटर और उसको 4-5 घंटे के भी मैंने एंगेजमेंट्स करा दिए, तो आई वॉज अर्निंग फेयरली 60-65 thousand रुपीज एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इन अ मंथ.
इंटरेस्टिंग। तो ये जब आप क्लास 8th में थे तो 8th से 10th 11th तक आपने ये बिजनेस चलाया?
क्योंकि मैंने ट्यूटरिंग शुरू किया था बिकॉज आई वांटेड टू हैव एन एक्स्ट्रा इनकम, क्योंकि मेरे 3-4 हज़ार रुपए के खर्चे बन गए थे मंथली, राइट, विच आई डू नॉट वांट माय मदर और माय फादर टू गिव इट टू मी, राइट. सो एंड आई यूज्ड टू बी अ बास्केटबॉल प्लेयर एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, तो मुझे शूज़ खरीदने होते थे, मुझे कोर्ट पे बॉल्स के लिए कंट्रीब्यूट करना होता था कि यार चलो नई बॉल्स लेके आए. तो वो सारे खर्चे मीट करने के लिए आई स्टार्टेड ट्यूटरिंग किड्स, एंड दैट इवेंचुअली टर्न्ड आउट टू बी एन एजेंसी कि यार नहीं, इसको तो बिल्कुल स्केल कर सकते हैं. स्केल किया भी. We reached to about 60 tutors or something like that. And then I shut it down because I wanted to do something at scale. And that was something I was aiming for.
Which is that you said your dad was making about 12,000.
12 to 15,000. Yeah.
12 to
15.
12 to 15,000. And you were making 65,000 at that time.
60,
So it
60.
was almost like 4 times of
Correct.
what he was making. So what I want to understand from you is that at that time, what must be going on in your head? And I'm sure family wouldn't be needing money. Resources in all our families are always limited, right? So what was the story at that?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think I'll possibly, it's a good question. I'll also have to reflect on it. One thing that was going on in my mind was obviously that I should be building something at scale that people would remember me for. This is something that I've understood right from the beginning, because after reading this case study, I always wanted to build something जो कि news में आए, हर जगह, people would start talking about it. It has to be a new sensation, sort of that thing. I think at that point of time, Oyo stories, I'm not sure whether these were Oyos. I do not specifically remember it.
Oyo story would have happened at that time.
हाँ, तो
Yeah. Or
Oyo
was
story
the
थी, right?
yeah.
And then there were two brothers from Delhi. They created about uh, close to $1.5 million revenue of business. They were in their 11th grade. So I used to read these stories, right? My motivation as well that okay यार, मतलब अगर ये लोग कर सकते तो मैं क्यों नहीं कर सकता?
So what is that you are dreaming of now going forward? What's your big
As
vision?
part of my company.
Yeah,
All
for
right. So
you, for
we,
your
we
company.
actually wanted to be one of the solution, maybe the most preferred in the world for communication skills. कॉमन स्कूल में भी टुक दिस पेडागॉजी ऑफ एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग कि यार कुछ नहीं करना है, सिर्फ एक्सपोज कर देना है रेलेवेंट सिचुएशन से लोगों को. एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी वर एक्चुअली इम्प्लीमेंटिंग एआई फॉर. कि यार कॉन्वर्जेशनल एआई को लो, उसके साथ में इन सिचुएशंस को रेप्लिकेट करके प्रैक्टिस करो सो दैट यू कैन बिकम कॉन्फिडेंट ऑन दिस सिचुएशन. लेट्स से इफ यू आर नेगोशिएटिंग योर सैलरी विद समवन, यू हैव टू नो कि यार कैसे करना है, वो आपको क्या बोलने वाला है, राइट. हाउ डू यू काउंटर दैट कि उसको बुरा.
How do you go about stimulating these situations in common school? And because it's a web platform, right?
It's a web platform, so we are building a actually multi layered platform with cross platform functionality. So it's on web, it's on mobile, and it's on VR as well. We have these modules built in that integrates with all of these newly developed technologies. So आप जाते हो, आप बताते हो कि मुझे कस्टमर कॉल प्रैक्टिस करना है, right? Or let's say, when you go for the interview practice level, our platform will ask you a few of the questions. कि किस चीज़ का इंटरव्यू और कौन सी कंपनी में. Then it will ask you for the persona कि यार किससे बात करना चाहते हो. एक 55-year-old HR से बात करना चाहते हो या फिर एक 35-year-old CEO से बात करना चाहते हो, राइट. इसकी एथनिसिटी क्या है. एथनिसिटी के अलावा इसका बिहेवियर कैसा है, जिसको हम डिमीनर बोलते हैं. डिमीनर के अलावा इसका सॉर्ट ऑफ आई विल से background क्या है. So you feed all of these and then you set up this scenario by uploading your job description and resume, मतलब उसका context. And then this simulates about 90% realism for your conversation, because these LLMs are so intelligent.
Job description, you are saying you upload your job description, so the person who is practicing uploads the job description, or the job description is also there?
नो 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 नो, यू कैन क्रिएट इट ऑन टू आवर प्लेटफॉर्म। अगर आपको चाहिए तो आप क्विकली भी क्विक फ्लो के साथ में भी जा सकते हैं, जहाँ पे आपको डालना नहीं पड़ता, आप सिर्फ टाइटल्स डालिए। या फिर अगर आपको चाहिए कि नहीं मेरा कल इंटरव्यू है, जो कि लेट्स से अमेजोन के साथ में एज अ कस्टमर सपोर्ट एग्जीक्यूटिव लेवल 1, राइट। अब आपको उसके लिए ही प्रैक्टिस करना है, तो यू कैन अपलोड योर जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड देन यू कैन सेट अप द पर्सोना एंड
So,
प्रैक्टिस।
so you are saying two things. One is that you choose the persona, you create the persona in terms of age, background, profile of the interviewer, and then you upload your job description,
देन यू सेट अप द
and
सिनेरियो। सो सिनेरियो
and
में कुछ
then
भी हो सकता है।
and then this persona creates the questions and asks you.
So you have an
Yeah.
avatar on your screen, you talk to that avatar, and then once you end the conversation, we give you a self-coaching report on around 84 different parameters of your soft skills,
Hmm.
particularly communication.
Hmm.
So आपके interaction specific parameters, speech specific parameters, language specific parameters, conciseness and persona and impact specific parameters, your
Hmm.
question or response level analysis कि यार किस
Hmm.
response को कैसे दिया जा सकता था, इस तरीके के तकरीबन 84 parameters is what we consolidate, and then
Hmm.
it is more of a self coaching report. So we tell our learners कि जितना time आपने practice करने में दिया है, उतना time आप reflect करने में भी दो. So let's say you spent about 10 minutes practicing it. Now spend 10 more minutes in reflecting onto your report so that you can train yourself after it.
Okay. Okay. So currently, how many students would be using it?
So far I've had about 40,000 learners onto our platforms. Now
Okay.
अभी हम लोग इसका एक complete holistic experience platform is what we are launching.
Hmm.
That is scheduled really near. Maybe जब तक ये podcast live होगा तब तक हम launch कर चुके होंगे the very first version of it.
When you started common school, and your main driver was that this confidence, this ability to express yourself, that should improve.
Correct.
So do you recollect any significant transformation that you observed in some students, and how you felt about those?
Oh, many,
If you can
many, many. We have many of such stories.
give me few
Uh,
stories.
so there was a girl, I forgot the name, I think her name is Nikita Gupta. She was working as an events manager at a company in Delhi, right? And then she had come down to us while she resigned from her job. She was already at about 60,000 wala package, and she was looking at some कि यार मेरे को आगे का package मिले. At that point of time, we were piloting with career linked programs. So our programs for communication were generic in nature. Yeah, generic है. We piloted in between for about 3-4 months of time कि इनको outcome oriented बना देते हैं. Here communication for career growth, right? So we used to have a lot of other modules in it as well. So वहाँ पे एक learner थी, and I recently received her message on the group that she got a job in British High Commission to lead their events in India, and that is about I think 2 or 3x hike of her current salary, right?
Hmm.
So that is there. Another is a learner from Bangalore who used to be the vice president of finance for small Ujjivan Finance Bank. Oh, sorry,
Hmm.
Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. So
Hmm.
that's I think bank in India, and he used to be the VP there, and then he was applying to a bank for becoming the director there, right, for
Hmm.
their compliances. Now this guy lacked in communication. टेक्निकली बहुत साउंड है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, राइट, बट व्हेन ही सिट्स इन इंटरव्यू तो सब कुछ रिव्यू हो जाता है, मतलब देन ही कैन नॉट स्पीक एनीथिंग। इंटरव्यू छोड़ दो, अगर रिव्यू मीटिंग भी है बॉसेस के साथ में तो बस यस सर
Hmm.
नो सर में ही पूरी मीटिंग्स निकल जाती है। He came down to us, he improvised it, and then he got placed as a director in some other bank, right? There was another guy who was working with Philips. He's an industry veteran. He had been Philips for about 20 years of time selling CNC cutting machines, right? तो फिलिप्स का एक डिवीजन था इंडस्ट्रियल टूल्स का, वो बेचते थे, एंड देन ही वाज ट्राइंग टू अप्लाई फॉर सम जर्मन ब्रांड दैट वाज एंटरिंग इंडिया. सो
Hmm.
अभी क्या हो रहा है, देयर इज अ मूव ऑफ जर्मन कंपनीज ओपनिंग इंडियन मार्केट्स, राइट, स्पेशली इन दिस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सर्विसिंग वाला स्पेस. तो वहाँ पे ही फाउंड एन अपॉर्चुनिटी कि यार कृष्णकांत इसके लिए अप्लाई करना है, एंड देन ही एनरोल्ड इनटू आवर प्रोग्राम and kind of transformed his entire strategies altogether. And we even have a kind of testimony recorded on video from him. He said, "Ki yaar, what I paid, I cannot even receive this much of value even from an IIM course." because here it is too much personalized. There the courses are generic कि यार आप आए हो ये कोर्स है आप कर लो, बट यहाँ पे आपने मेरा प्रॉब्लम समझ के मेरे लिए सॉल्व कर दिया, एंड दैट इज समथिंग दैट आई लाइक. एंड ही वाज द पार्टिसिपेंट ऑफ आवर 1:3 वाला फॉर्मेट वाला प्रोग्राम, एंड देयर वर मल्टीपल सच केस स्टडीज
All these students accessed your training online.
online. These were entirely online. We did not have any
Okay.
offline module.
तो अभी अभी क्या साइज क्या है आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, कितने लोग हैं
We are
आपके
about
साथ?
32, 33 of us, spread it across 4 cities in India. Majority of us sit in Gwalior. So we always has this kind of vision to stay in Gwalior.
Those who are watching this would be people, uh, those who may be in engineering college or anywhere else, 22-year-old, uh, and if they want to start something. The other day you were talking about कि अगर आपके पास आइडिया अच्छा है, तो I think you said something like up to 2 CR you can raise as grant.
Yeah,
You talked about this.
that's the upper scale of it. But what I
Hmm.
believe is, if you need to start it up, I always believe in this philosophy of, or this analogy of horse versus the jockey, which my mentor kind of taught me. Right? So your horse can be as good as any world's best horse, right? But if you don't know how to ride a horse, तो फिर आप गिरोगे ही गिरोगे. You cannot kind of succeed in that. And the same applies in entrepreneurship. Your idea could be as good as it can be, the best in the world. But if you don't know how to execute it, you will for sure fail. Reason being, you do not have this capability of executing this idea. So I suggest everyone to first go and build this capability, right?
How?
At least at the foundation level. Maybe work with the founders in their founder office. Maybe work with these companies who are now starting up. Maybe try to do these programs that will give you some understanding of compliances and finances, because that is really important. Maybe try to learn and do some programs around tech, right? If I would have been at somebody's place, maybe in a college right now, I would have written to, let's say, I would have identified a list of top 100 founders in the country. I would have cold emailed them on LinkedIn and would say them that I would want to work for you for free. These are my skill sets. अगर कोई ऐसा बंदा जो मेरी सिटी में होता है, and I think that he's building substantially good thing, I would have gone there and work with him in any fashion that would have been possible for me, right? So that I at least know that what are the building, how to build these companies, right? How to hire people, right? How to retain them up. वो मुझे पता चलता है, and then I would have gone and start this up. So internships, fellowships, and then these founder office things, that actually helps us a lot in order to do that. I did the same thing. So it has to be intrapreneurship before entrepreneurship if you really wanted to succeed, right?
Uh, Tell the difference between the two.
So entrepreneurship is, let's say, if you found a company who kind of give you the entire liberty in order to try and test out anything that you would want to go do in order to build one particular thing inside that company. That is entrepreneurship. So you are an entrepreneur inside that company, right? A lot of EIR
So you get
positions is now available.
protection of a larger setup
Correct.
where you are succeeding, trying your ideas,
Correct.
and once you have done something, proven yourself, got some confidence, then go and
Correct.
start.
So a lot of EIR
Okay.
positions are now also available, entrepreneur and residence positions, right?
Hmm.
India right now is facing a very big shortage of incubation people. So if you find an opening in incubator, if you go, we have about, let's say, close to 1,000 incubator in the country right now. They do not have skilled workforce, right? So if you could go there,
Workforce like what? What skills are they looking for?
so let's say they are looking for program managers who can onboard startups and run the programs for them, right? So somebody who has this understanding of term sheets, legal terms, and all of it. They do need certain sort of guys. They do need guys who can convince a startup signing equities for these incubators and ultimately taking the money from them. Because these startups are very much unrationalized and unreasonable, right? They say I want 100 crore valuation on day one. That can't happen, right? So how do you lower it down and tune it up in order to so that he raises money on 5, 7, 10 CR valuation, 20 CR valuation, whatever is justified, right? As part of the first check before the product is even launched. Because while you go into that particular dimension, you tend to become more reasonable. You tend to say कि यार अब तो कोई कंपनी 20 करोड़ में भी खरीदने को रेडी नहीं है, और मैं एंटिसिपेट करके बैठा हूँ कि मेरी कंपनी 150 करोड़ की है, The actual value is
Hmm. Hmm.
20 crores, right? So you
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
to kind of tune in these expectations. How do you do that? ये इन तरीके के लोगों में थोड़ी सी लोगों की कमी है, मतलब
So tell me, what's the one of the biggest mistake that you may have done, or you have seen somebody make that kind of mistake in entrepreneurship?
so one of the mistake that I would suggest everyone to not make is not judging the opportunity right. Like while I was actually getting these opportunities of reaching out by the VCs, by the investors, I was not taking it well because I resigned from Lemon Ideas, right? I flipped my tables, and मैं आ रहा था वो 50-50 million dollar वाले pool sites से और उस तरीके की deal से और cross
Three,
country
400 crore kind of a
correct
valuation.
करेक्ट सो
हाँ.
आई वॉज ऑफ द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कि मैं अपना पहला फंड रेज करूंगा 100 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन में
Hmm.
बट देन देर वॉज एन इन्वेस्टर जिसने मुझे 8 करोड़ का ऑफर दिया ऑन
For your
60
common school.
फॉर कॉमन स्कूल
When was this?
और पुटिंग इन 8 करोड़ रुपीज टर्म शीट भी आ गई थी दिस वॉज 2 years बैक उसके बाद में वो ऑफर हम बस हमने इसलिए साइन नहीं किया और उससे इसलिए बात आगे नहीं बढ़ी क्योंकि उन्होंने 60 करोड़ का लास्ट हमारा डिस्कशन हुआ था कि 60 करोड़ वैल्यूएशन पे वी गोना पुट 8 करोड़
And
रुपीज
what was the revenue of your company at that time?
Zero, we were pre-revenue.
So you were pre-revenue.
We
So
were
at
pre
concept level, they were giving you that offer.
correct. And
And,
I was of
and
the point of view that I'm building something that will blow everyone off, and this will worth much more than it. And that was my mistake, right? Because while I look at it now, if I need to justify 60 crore का valuation, तो बहुत ही अलग हो गया. मतलब possibly the things would have been very different, and the things are very different right now also. So I suggest everyone कि यार अपने को ना थोड़ा सा humble रह के और बिल्कुल realistic होके opportunities को assess करना है, so that you don't make these mistakes.
Hmm.
These
So, for
incubators will
instance,
facilitate.
if four students they came together in college last year and have started forming a company and have some idea and they have developed some concept kind of a thing. So, if they were to start an organization, start a company, what is that they can learn from your experience? What is that they should do or should not do to launch their organization, their company?
For sure. One is that they should always have a mentor that they can actually talk to, somebody who they
Mhm.
trust, who they can actually talk to on maybe not on a daily but on an alternate day basis or on a weekly basis.
And the mentor should be somebody who has started the company and run the
Correct.
company.
Someone who has that experience, right? Even if that happens, it happens to be in the same space, that helps. Number one.
Hmm.
Second is be reasonable with their demands. And knowing that I am not going to earn from this thing for the next 3-4 years of time. So I have to be ready for it, right? Because you are raising a kid, so your startup is like a kid. You cannot ask for salary from your kid right on day one. Ki, okay, I've given you the birth, now give me the salary. So it does not happen that way. You have to be really realistic.
No, for instance, the one of the biggest problem that students face is that they have an idea, they have a team, but they need some resources, right? So they need resources for because they are stepping out of college in terms of server and data, and some software, etc., etc. So, are there opportunities which they can avail of in terms of
There are many
grants or loans?
opportunities, but for those opportunities, somebody would have to have the legal entity registered, which I'll not suggest as step one. As step one,
Hmm.
I'll suggest everyone to go and validate the idea and have some traction on it. So let's say if you
Hmm.
have this idea of having an AI model built in for, let's say, for customer support, right? Very simple problem
Hmm.
statement. You could now go to GPT, build that model, deploy it without any significant cost. You spend
Yeah.
about 3-4 thousand rupees every month on your expenses. You can do that simply, and you can deploy it, have some traction to it, and then register a company if you get the confidence on it. If so, I tell everyone this thing that if you are confident of putting in your own money, then go and register a company. If you are that confident that you are ready to take a loan and then put it into this idea in order to make it big, then go and register a company. Until then, try
Hmm.
experimentations because you have to experiment a lot of things, right? So that you can be
Hmm.
focused on one. And then you do not have this
Hmm.
regret later on कि यार वो ट्राई नहीं किया वो कर लेते तो शायद हो जाता तो वो एक्सपेरिमेंट
Hmm.
पहले करना चाहिए एक्सपेरिमेंट करके ट्रैक्शन लाना चाहिए For एक entity register कराना चाहिए, there are a couple of possibilities available if you have traction. SISFS is one of it. That gives you about 20 lakh rupees of grant and then 50 lakh rupees in convertible debt. Right?
What is the SIS?
SISF is a Seed India Seed Fund scheme. That is one, right? That's very easy to crack. Every 6 months, incubator release fund, so you can be everywhere if you have traction. Second is this thing called DST. Third is Mighty is a scheme called Tide. Fourth is Genesis, a scheme by Mighty, which is I think a 4,000 crore scheme right now in India, out of which about 500 crores have been already been deployed in startups. Genesis is specifically for tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Then a lot of these incubators as EIRs.
These are government
These
schemes.
are government schemes. A lot of these incubators have these EIR schemes too under Mighty. So these EIRs are getting paid their 20,000, I think 10,000, 20,000 rupees a month in order to meet their expenses, and then so that they can keep on working on the idea. And there are a hell lot of schemes like this. I mean, there must be about 20, 22.
So, is there a source where somebody can go and check what are the schemes available?
Unfortunately, not, but majority of these schemes are actually available on Startup India website. You can go there, Startup India website, and can check for it, but you have to do your own research. These are not available as one single directory right now, because a lot of state also have their own scheme. So Bihar gives around 20 lakh rupees if you are registering a company. They do not ask much questions. If you're registering a company, if you're applying to the seed fund there, they quickly disburse 20 lakh rupees. They have done it for some of the startups too, right? UP does the same. Then other states also has this policy, right? So every state has its own policy. National level, there are different sort of schemes available. But I think that's a later step. The first step should be to kind of have some traction and build your roadmap for them that, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the next 18 to 24 months of time, and this is what I do need money for. And then try and do
Okay.
this.
So you are saying first you play around and develop your idea, develop some kind of prototype, and if you can get some traction in terms of few customers who are testing the idea, after that only you start going to Startup India website and look
True.
for funding and grant
Even to the
opportunities,
VCs,
etc.
because if you have traction, you can reach out to VCs, micro VCs, and angel platforms. They also help in that way. But you have to have.
What would be the websites or platforms to go to for angel funding?
Uh, I'm not sure that how do you pick that up, but traction works the best. TRACXN, traction. Traction gives you a holistic preview of your industry as a whole and who are the all active investors in that particular sort of industry, what all angel platform works out of it. Then your story releases a lot of reports, right? You can read your story reports. These are for free. Bloom Ventures will release a very specific report. Their reports are phenomenally well. I am Ahmedabad Ventures, the one that I'm carrying
Okay,
in
yeah.
charge of me. They have a significant arm working for reports only, reports and analytics. So they also release a lot of reports.
Anything else that somebody who is starting up should keep in mind that you'd like to share your wisdom in terms of what you have gained in last so many, because you have spent a lot of time in nurturing their
Correct.
startups, right? So you nurtured startups for about 3 years or so, right?
So I was with Lemon Ideas for about 5, 6 years almost.
So in 6 years, if you were to you know kind of distill your experience and your wisdom, what are the 2 3 things that you will say a new startup must keep in mind?
All right. So this is interesting. Number one is that as a startup, we try to hit six on every ball, right? So every ball
Sorry.
that comes to your way, you try to hit a sixer. That does not happen. That is not a
Hmm.
real world, right? Because when startups used to come to us कि सर अब तो यहाँ तक आ गए अब आप बताओ कहाँ पिच करना है और चेक बता दो कहाँ से मिलेगा. It does not happen
Hmm.
that way, right? So
Hmm.
while they even go to some incubators, उनको बोलते हैं जाके कि सर ये मैंने कर लिया है अब आप फंडिंग करवा दो बस. It does not happen that way, right? So you used to play a lot of no balls, a lot of free balls also, right? काफी काफी बार टिक 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 करके भी खेलना होता है. And the one thing that I understood is कि you do not know कि कौन सी बॉल पे सिक्स पड़ेगा, किस बॉल पे आप एक रन लोगे, किस बॉल पे आप 2 रन लोगे. One thing that should be there is to keep playing, right? So without any expectation in your mind, You have to pitch to people, you have to meet a lot of people and then try and assess कि ये छक्का लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा, right? Then try and assess कि यार ये hit करेगा कि नहीं करेगा. But at the same point of time, you should make good connections with everyone that you know, right? Because you never know
So
how
you
they
are
will help you out.
so you are saying keep reaching out to people,
Keep reaching out.
but not necessarily keep asking for money. Keep talking about your venture, your idea, and then let's see who gets
Correct.
interested. Is
And at the
that
same point of
yeah?
time, try sustaining yourself and keep up the pace. Because
Hmm.
they will not be interested if you have met them 6 months back and now 6 months later you have shut down the idea. Because you have to make sure that
Hmm.
that it sustains, right? And it will for sure pay back. Number one. Second is try
Hmm.
doing a lot of things in the good faith as well, because you never know how
Hmm.
will it turn out. So I've
Hmm.
helped a lot of people, without knowing that यार ये क्या मिलेगा इससे नहीं भी मिलेगा कुछ होगा कि नहीं होगा. I've even traveled cities 500 kilometers in order to help folks that way, right? After spending my own money even, right? But then that ultimately helps. Somehow in the life
Hmm.
these dots will connect and you'll realize कि यार उस time पे वहाँ गया था. Now this is making sense.
So this is like you are talking about the second piece. The first piece that you spoke about is that you need to kind of develop your idea and make it understandable for others, and it should be there's the proof of concept stage is what is what,
With
what is
some
important to
traction.
achieve. Yeah. So and the second piece you are saying that continuously keep reaching out to people so that they know about you and what is the problem that you are trying to solve. So these are two pieces. What are the other pieces of the puzzle?
I think third one would be to to always hire good talent instead of your friends, because this is
Hmm.
one of the basic mistake that we make while we start up. हम बोलते हैं अच्छा चल तू भी आजा तू भी आजा तू भी आजा तू भी आजा without
Hmm.
having an analysis of that what this guy will do and how the company will actually unfold. You have to do a very diligent analysis of whom you are having on board with you, because it's sort of family that you're building here. It's a business that you're building here, and sometimes you have to be really harsh on them. Sometimes you have to be only going, and achieving targets and numbers, and achieving your deadlines. That ruins friendships, right? So try not to have your friends on board just because they are your friends. Try to have them on board after knowing that they are skillful and they can contribute. That's the best way to do it.
Anything else that you would like to talk about?
Now I think it's the time for tier two and tier three guys. I personally think that the next 10 years are the golden years. If you are able to build something in these 10 years, believe you me, you will flip your words. अगर ये 10 साल निकल गए तो फिर शायद, क्योंकि अभी AI शेप ले रहा है और ये 10 साल शायद
Hmm.
शेप लेगा, फिर एक 20-25 साल का एक फ्लैट ग्रोथ आएगा जहाँ पे कंपनी सेटल हो जाएंगी, दिल देन ग्रो, एंड मे बी वी विल सी अनदर डिसरप्शन आफ्टर दैट. 20-25
Hmm.
years we
Hmm.
are undergoing disruption.
Yeah, this disruption is kind of a mind-blowing disruption, and nobody knows which way it is going to shape up
That's the
everything.
exactly
Yeah.
the right time to kind of build something that had happened in the dot com boom previously. People have made insane amount of money, they've flipped their worlds. The same is happening right now. We're in the golden age, right? Though it has started shaping up already, but still we are in the position that we can track that where is it going and where do I fit, right? If you are able to track with that pace, that's a golden age to build the companies in, right? And then because after 10 years it's all going to settle, and for the next 20, 25 years only the ones which were settled are going to go up.
Because this is giving you the opportunity now to, a 10 people organization can create $1 billion company.
Absolutely. And that is what I said. No, if you have 10, 20 engineers with you, you can go and get yourself acquired in about $2-3 million anyway, because you have created
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of value for an
yeah,
enterprise.
yeah, yeah.
With me,
Hmm. So currently, how are you funding your company?
I funded it with my own money that I received after taking up an exit from Lemon Ideas. We have raised 3 grant rounds One was from Meta, second one from IIT Delhi, and third one was from HDFC Bank. And then we are raising some money right now because right now we are confident that we can put this money for better returns.
So why Meta or HDFC Bank have funded you?
Meta has a program.
Given you
No, no.
grant.
Meta has a program that was funding companies in education, those who were implementing XR into education. So we were one of the top four companies in India who got selected for it. Even HDFC Bank has its CSR initiative. So right now, what Indian government has done is that the CSR could be used for funding these entrepreneurs, these startups through incubators. So that was the CSR fund under their program called Parivartan. Uh,
So uh, they basically fund the incubator funds
Incubator
you.
funds us, and then they can claim
Ah,
that as a CSR activity for them.
okay. So that's the
Yeah,
modification that they
but
have done.
this is a very much structured program, and it's a very much sort of successful program in India. They've funded close to about 200 startups so far, hard money in cash.
So what is that organization like HDFC Parivartan looks for in an idea?
That's the CSR money for them. So they look actually for social impact, livelihood, jobs, that they can actually deploy this money better for the betterment of society.
So if your startup is in these areas
No, no, they
like yours,
actually
which is
they
which is
actually release their themes every year. So every year the focus is different. So they source these startups, they evaluate these startups, and then they fund these startups.
okay, so they have a focus area of the year, and then if your program is fitting in, then
So
you
every
can
bank
reach
right
out
now
to them.
has it. SBI has launched a program. Kotak has launched a CSR program called Kotak Which Labs. I was a part of that as well. This AM Ahmedabad venture
Okay,
engagement is through them only. Then
okay.
I think after Kotak and HDFC, ICICI is now also coming up with certain sort of program.
And what is the quantum of amount that these guys
13
generally
lakhs.
give you? 13
13
lakhs.
lakhs. So that ranges between 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs depending on program to program.
Okay, 10 to 13 lakhs. So what's the latest idea that is keeping you excited about other than common school?
So there are a couple of ideas that are there. And I generally do not get excited about these ideas because I know that it's all about execution. So right now, though, I'm very much
Yeah,
focused on making
that's what your 10 years of entrepreneurship has
correct.
taught you.
So I had one guy who had traveled down to me, about a year back. Very interesting story. This guy has built in spiritual tech. He has launched an app, spiritual
Speech.
tech.
Okay,
Yep.
spiritual tech.
So they have
Okay,
launched an app that got about 500,000 downloads. They were everywhere in the media. They were on India News, they were on Z News, they were on NDTV, they were on CNBC. That had picked the momentum. They had the users coming on their app, and the app was crashing. And then they came down to me and said, "Sir, fund karwa do." And I sat with them, ki, yaar, see, it's not an idea. You do not have revenue model inside, number one. Your your tech is not scalable. It is crashing even on 1,000 users, right? You do not have that pipelines built in straight away. If you need to build this tech, it is going to take you about 7 to 8 months of time with a team of 3 4 engineers because you cannot afford more than three
Hmm,
four
hmm,
engineers, right? तो 7 से 8 महीने लगेंगे
hmm.
इसको फिक्स करने में तुम अभी से फिक्स करना शुरू कर दो इसको अदरवाइज यू विल फेल एंड दिस गाय टोल्ड मी कि नहीं आई वांटेड टू हैव यू ऑन बोर्ड वगैरह वगैरह उसने कुछ कमिट किया आई सेड कि यार आई एम ऑलरेडी ऑन बोर्ड मुझे कुछ साइन नहीं करना मेरे साथ में बिकॉज आई डू नॉट बिलीव यू गाइस कि ये कितना जाएगा आगे तो आई सेड कि मैं कनेक्ट कराता हूँ एक बार कनेक्ट करो और अगर कुछ हो जाता है तो देखना तो ही सेड ठीक है मैंने उसको एक एंजल नेटवर्क से कनेक्ट कराया एक इवेंट में ले गया और उसको फंड हो गया एक इन्वेस्टर ने उसको फंड दे दिया फंड देने के बाद वो फंड उसने एग्जॉस्ट कर दिया एंड राइट नाउ ऑल्सो देयर टेक इज नॉट स्केलेबल दे आर एक्चुअली स्ट्रगलिंग विद देयर यूजर्स अभी तो उनके यूजर्स भी जाने लगे उस ऐप से राइट
Thank you very much for sparing this time.
एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर
Yeah.
इनवाइटिंग मी टुडे इट वाज रियली फैसिनेटिंग